Hello and welcome back to another video. In this video, we are going to learn how to add images to our fruits. So we are going to be able to send files from the client, receive those files in our server and save them correctly. And of course, serve those files or those images that we are going to save in the server, serve them to the client whenever someone requests them. So let's get started. Here in IntelliJ, right where we left off from the last tutorial, first change is in the fruit data class. So in our fruit model here, I'm going to add a new field to my fruit data class, which represents the URL of the image. So we are going to add an image, to each fruit. So let's say val image URL, and make this a nullable string actually, because I don't want to make it a requirement at this point. And one change I'm going to do here is I'm going to annotate this with JSON property, and here I'm going to say image underscore URL. The reason why I'm doing this is because I don't want to save the key of this image URL in camel case like this inside MongoDB. So it will be saved like this in MongoDB, but in our data class here in Kotlin, we will deal with it in camel case style like this. Okay, good. Now let's go to fruit routes, where we have the routes here, and we start making some changes. Now we want to receive a picture, which is a file, and we create a new fruit in our post request here in the add fruit endpoint. But when we receive fruit data, we receive the data in a raw format, basically. So when we send it from Postman, if you remember, we use raw data, and we send like the raw data from as a JSON to the server, and the server handles it. But when we want to send a file, we can't send a file as raw data. We need to use a different type of. So instead of a raw body, we are going to send the body in a different format. And for this, we are going to use form data. And here, to receive form data in our Ktor server, we can't receive it in this way. So we're going to change this. So let's get rid of this new fruit. And we are going to use something called multipart. So I'm going to name the variable multipart. And I'm going to say call.receive multipart, and this is going to be of type multipart data. And each part of this consists of multiple parts, and each part of this will contain either a form field, which is basically a key and a value, or an actual file data. So next we are going to take this multipart and say for each part like that, and loop through each one of those parts. But depending on whether the part is a form field or a file, we are going to do two different things. So for convenience here, let's use the one statement and pass the part here. And here we can say is part data form item. Let's start with the form item first for the file. And here, okay, let's actually also do the file item, and then else we can respond. So we can return post, return for each part, and we can say batch request simple. Okay, the completion is fine. We can go with that. So we can go with invalid form item. So if the client sends something different than a form item or if a file. So if it's a form item, we are going to do some checks here. So if it's a form item, we are going to do some checks here. Check if the name of the form, of the actual field, what name is it? So if we have, let me actually just open the fruit data class here. So as you can see in the fruit data class, we have different fields like the name, country, seasons. So we are going to check whether the name is one of these and assign the value accordingly. And because we need to assign the value, so we need some variables. So let's create those variables here. And I'm going to do var. So name is a nullable string, and it's going to be null. And also country, or actually just this is going to be countries, and it's not going to be a string, it's going to be a mutable list of string, because we might have multiple countries. So mutable list of string. And also we have season, which is going to be a nullable season, and by default null. And last but not least, of course, image URL, which is also going to be a nullable string in this case. Okay, now back here, what we're going to do is I'm going to do another when statement and part.name. So I'm going to do like a quick check on the name of this particular part. So if this part is if this part's name is name, so I'm going to take the value of this part and assign it to the variable name that I've created previously here. And I'm going to do the same thing to each and one of these variables. So if it's country, then I'm going to add the value to the countries list. And seasons is going to be, season value of, and then the actual value. And value of is a function that is built in all enum classes. This basically extracts the actual enum property from the given string, but it does throw an exception if this string doesn't match any enum object. So it's really sensitive, so we need to be very careful with that. And yeah, we did all of those. Okay, this one actually is going to be a value, so a val. Okay, now let's get to the file. The first thing we're going to do here is we want to check the part name. If it equals to image, or if it equals to image, then we know that we've got the image and we need to handle it here. And here I would like to do a couple of things, but before I'm gonna do some quick setup for handling files. So the first thing is I'm going to create an object class to hold some constants to make it easy to reference the path to our fruit images, and so on. In the working directory of the project, I'm going to create a new package. I'm going to call it utils. So in the utils package, I'm going to create a new Kotlin object, and the name will be constants. Here, constants will have, first thing is the base URL. So this one is going to be HTTP and localhost, and my port is 8080. Second one is constant val, and this is going to be the static root. Static like that. And so this is going to be static root fruit image path. Oh, it's going to be the static root slash images, and another last one is going to be external image path, and this one is going to be, it's just going to be slash images. Images, just like that. Another thing that we will need is a utility function to save a file and assign a random name to it, which you can find here in my blog post. So I'm just going to copy that because it's quite boring to go through this step by step. So I'm going to copy it, go back to IntelliJ, and in the utils package, create a new Kotlin file. Call this file utils, paste this here, and it copies the name of the code snippet. I don't know why, but that's quite weird. So let's import input stream, and yeah, that's it. So this function, it's pretty self-explained, with the comments here, but it basically reads the file bytes. It's basically an extension function for the file item, from the part data, and so it reads the byte of the file. It tries to figure out the extension of that image. So, for example, .jpeg, .png, whatever, and it creates a random name, and it saves the file to our directory, to our internal directory in the server, and returns the file name of that file, the randomly generated file name. So let's go to fruit routes here, and after we make sure that the part name is an image, we are going to val image name is part.save, which is our extension function that we just pasted. And here we want to tell it the path where we want to save the image in our server, which is constant static fruit image path. And that's it. And this function will return the name for us. Now we can say that image URL is constant dot external image path plus we need to add this slash here plus image name, like that. So basically the path to the image is going to be slash images, and then slash the name of the image, which is the random name that we just generated here. And depending on how you want you want it to be, you can also attach the base URL here. So it's base URL slash the path, and then slash the name of the file name here. But I'm going to leave it like that and show you how it looks like, so you can decide for yourself later. Okay, so we've assigned values to all these variables. Now, if everything went smoothly until here, what we need to do here is create our new fruit. So create the new fruit object here from the data class. So this is going to be fruit. Name is going to be name. Season is season. Countries. Image URL is image URL. Now, of course, we are hit with some errors here because name and season can't be null, and they are nullable here because they're not guaranteed to be sent. So we can do a quick check here, or we can do the Elvis operator if you want to use it there. But I'd just like to add a check here using a normal if statement. So if the name is null, I'm going to return and basically respond with a bad request and simple response of false, and name field is required. I'm going to duplicate this line, and instead of name, I'm going to do season, and here I'm going to say season fields is required. Yeah, and that's it. And now that we've made the checks, we can just add the explanation marks like that, and we are good to go. So let's give it a try. Let's run our server, give this a try, and server taking a while. Okay, server is running. Go to Postman. Now instead of using here in the add fruit request, instead of using the raw body, I'm going to use the form data, and of course assign the values like that. So I'm going to do for example, pineapple, country, let's just say Libya, for example, and season is going to be just as the same as the enum class. So I'm going to make it, summer capital like that. And of course, image. And I'm going to change the type here to a file and select the file. So select the file, select this pineapple image here, and let's add the fruit. Okay, wrong fruit format. Let me check if I have everything correctly. So name, country, season, image. So an exception is thrown here. Okay, so I see the problem here is because the save function is trying to save to this directory, which is okay. Let me go to back to the fruit route and see what I passed to the save function, which is the static fruit image path. Okay, so I figured out what was causing the problem. The directory wasn't created because I made a mistake, and the static root here, the beginning of the directory, basically beginning of the path, shouldn't have a slash at the beginning, which I did. And now when I removed it, it worked. And another thing that I made that I needed to change is in the fruit class, instead of using bson property, I need to use serial name here because it doesn't work with serialization, with serializable. So I need to use serial name here, but I get them confused sometimes, but that's fine. So it now works. And as you can see here in Postman, I was able to add my pineapple here, and it gave me the path to this image here with this random name. And if I click this and try to grab it, basically it returns file not found. However, if I go back to IntelliJ, we notice that we have a new directory here in the root of our project, and that directory is called static. Now, if we open static, we have images, and in images we have our picture, which is, if I go back to the request, it starts with B23 here, which is this one. If I try to open the image, I see it's the picture of the pineapple that I just uploaded. But why can't we access this from the client or from our browser? Even if you try to open it in the browser, you won't be able to. This is because the server kind of protects unauthorized access, to the files in the server. So it's not that not anyone can just come in and grab anything from the server, as they want. So there's a little bit of control here. So how can we tell the server that we want clients to be able to access files, in this directory, in the images directory here? We can do that by enabling static content. So if you go to here to routing kitty, as you can see, there's some default configuration, when we first created our project, that has static resources, and it points to this /static folder in the resources, which is this resources static, and it has index.html. Now, if you try to access static /index.html, you will, load this HTML file, basically load it in the browser, and you can try to access it. It even says it here in the comment, but we want to enable access to the static folder that we've created here. Let's add our own static access rule here by typing static files remote path, which is the remote that clients will use to access images. I'm going to use it's going to be constant. I'm going to use constant, and it's going to be external image path, and the directory, the actual directory of the static content, is going to be a file, and the path of the file is static fruit image path. Now let's try to restart the server and try to load the image again. As you can see, we are able to load the image successfully. So that was it for this video. Thank you so much for watching. Like the video if you liked it, dislike if you dislike, leave any comments, and see you in the next video.